Welcome back to the Pacific Championship Series. I am Clement Chu, and I am going to be your host and play-by-play today. With me on my right, joined is Nightstar, coming all the way from North America to help liven our broadcast. Before we get into all the exciting action and the 8 games that we had so far, we have to say a big thank you to our main sponsors that make this all possible. Thank you to CTBC Bank for not only getting a team themselves, but also remaining our main sponsor, which I just think is incredible. And also Caliber, you got to check out their new stuff. All of their products are really amazing. And of course, our organizers at Riot Games, Carry Live, and last but not least, Garena. So Nightstar, this is the last day of our week 1 of the PCS. Give me your thoughts off the top of your head. What has been the most surprising stuff for you?
MFT going to Worlds, that's what I'm talking about.
Meta Falcon, baby, proving that the pipeline from LSC straight to PCS actually works. And you know, this is did you see this coming? I honestly want to ask you, because they're 2-0 in the standings, leading the entire league.
When you look at their schedule, having game 1 against Hurricane Gaming, you can probably chalk that up to a win, just because, you know, former Alpha Esports, they've been pretty 50-50. But then when you look at their second matchup, when it was up against BYG, I don't think anyone could have predicted, at least confidently, that Meta Falcon team would be able to take that matchup. So yes, I am indeed surprised that they are 2-0 coming into today. And if they get this next win, that really puts just them at the top of the power rankings, to be fair, because now they're going to be taking on CTBC Flying Oyster, which, I mean, coming straight out of the free agent market, like, you would rank this team probably number 1 or at least number 2 in comparison to Mega Bank Beyond Gaming.
We're going to keep close attention to that match further down the line. And just taking a look at these rankings, a couple things to note here. PSG Talon has already suffered a loss, so they have to say goodbye to the potential of an 18 split like they had in summer. Sem9, you will notice, has not played a game yet due to their COVID situation. And because of that, this week our games are shortened down to 4 games. Next week will be a full suite of 6 games on each day. So 50% more PCS on week 2 compared to week 1. I can't wait for that to happen. And behind them are, of course, Hurricane Gaming still looking for a win there. But on we go to today's matches. A couple big headlight matches here that we have. Meta Falcon team versus CFO, like you just mentioned. And closing it out, PSG trying to keep the usurpers down. They've already lost a game to Beyond Gaming, and Impunity is still looking for their first win.
Yeah, we'll see if PSG is able to maintain that momentum. They, you know, had a feel-good win yesterday against Hurricane Gaming, but I think a lot of teams will be looking at that Hurricane Gaming team in general and just trying to make sure they don't fall into a trap and sacrifice a game there for the most part. But we get to see the J-Team roster coming on out, and this is, of course, a J-Team that has undergone quite a few changes with Kogner and Uniboy coming in. I think those were, of course, the big highlight names, but the players remaining, I mean, it really was a very interesting split for the former J-Team roster, because you have kind of the brawn of Rest and Mission, the big firepower tools in their squad. They've gone on to CFO. You've got kind of the brains and Hana, Nesty, Woody. They were more of those supportive elements in the squad. They've moved on, and then you're kind of just left with Driver, Lil V. Yes, Lil V has been on this squad for a very long time, but they did get left behind.
Yeah, we saw Deep Cross Gaming taking their revenge in day 1. Now over to the other team, we have Hurricane Gaming, formerly known as Alpha Esports. We do have to mention that. And on your screen right now is ICU, a rank 1 player on the Taiwan server, but unfortunately hasn't been able to find a win just yet with the new team. I will say I was very impressed by Bang 2's performance on that Ezreal in Game 1. They definitely have shown some sparks, but in terms of coordination, still not really there yet.
It does feel quite a bit of a solo queue-esque roster where everyone's trying to create their own plays. Yeah, I mean, ICU, he's played 2 games of Jace. We'll see if he changes things up at all, but I would expect a lot of trying to hard win lane sort of drafts coming out from this squad, just because you're not really sure if you can actually get much scaling out of their play, just because of how coin flippy they do play in the early game.
I have to agree with you. Their last draft was absolutely crazy. They ran the Twitch Lulu bottom lane to counter the Zeri. They had the super aggressive Jace top, and in the middle they had a Renekton. So this team does seem like one of those teams that if they win early, then maybe something will happen. But if they go a little bit over aggressive in the mid game, they can be shut down. We're going to be moving straight into the pick and ban phase. Looks like Hurricane Gaming is not going to try and contest Zeri anymore, just taking it right into the ban list. Meanwhile, J-Team with some interesting bans of their own here as well, taking away the Karma that we did see Enhao on, and also the #1 pick in terms of the jungle and Xin Zhao. Don't really want to have Alio on that champion.
Xin, just a really stable champion in the jungle, has a lot of flexibility, early game presence, but even when it does get to the later stages of the game, still provides a lot of utility for a lot of these hyper carry style backline where you can just provide peel, or you can split up a fight by diving forward and cutting people off with your ultimate. But this is a pick we have not seen a whole lot in the first 2 days. It is Gwen. Yes, she's had presence in 75% of the games, but 3 of those being bans. It's been a relatively low priority when the pick does come in. I'm glad to see it first picked right here.
We have talked about this before game. We think that Gwen is the go-to champion, the GOAT of the PCS top lane meta right here. Now, to be fair, Driver is more known to be a sort of tank player, and ICU is someone who could punish an early Gwen, so we'll see if they're going to stick to their guns. In the meantime, a very common trade of bot laners right here. We see the Jinx Nautilus against the Aphelios Thresh. Not a whole lot of surprises. If Zeri is off the table, this is exactly what you should expect.
Yeah, and the Aphelios Thresh is more of a win lane combination, while the Jinx Nautilus, while it does have a little bit of kill potential as well, it's a lot more about scaling. And here we go. We get our first Ahri pick of this split. This is a pick that did get reworked a little bit. A lot of damage got taken off of the contingency of landing the charm, and now it's just moved a lot into her base damages, which is great. And it also added a little bit more reset potential to her ult ability. So I love that this champion is seeing some love here finally on PCS, and I'm very excited to see how it will do.
Yeah, this champion has been rocking it up in solo queue. The best mid laner for quite a while in this patch. I believe she was hovering around 53% in the win rate. And like you said, just the base damage changes have, I feel like it's so crazy. You think this champion lacks damage and she wasn't picked, but if you give 20 extra damage level 1 on Foxfire, that just fixes a lot of her issues automatically. We're going to go through the bans a little bit more as we see Vex being taken away from Uniboy, and also the Diana being taken away from Kongyue potentially. Diana, of course, 100% win rate so far in the PCS, no surprises. In the meantime, J-Team, they do look like they might be settling for that Gwen top lane as they take away 2 counters in the Jace and the Tryndamere.
Yeah, it could be going into the hands of Driver, but we know the identity of Kongyue is to be a hard carry, and Gwen can be one of those carry champions you can take into the jungle. We've seen it this season already. Canyon's played it, Blabber's played it over in NA, and they've played it to great success. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do throw a pivot and move that Gwen into that jungle role, but it seems it might be a little bit less likely because the Syndra does get locked in. You don't want to go necessarily double AP through mid jungle, and it will be Elisa.
Ooh, this is very interesting. So far, we've only seen Mission and Gemini sort of rock this early tempo mid jungle combination. But now J-Team, the other version of J-Team, I should say, is going to take a try at this. On the other hand, we do have Jax being the counter pick to Gwen. I love watching some Jax, especially in the hands of ICU. This guy's an Aurelia main, and I have to believe he's going to be great on Jax as well.
Yeah, and I mean, ICU, he's made his name playing carry top laners on his stream. So no doubt he has the counter pick options, if given to him, to be able to play up against something like a Gwen. So I like that they saved the counter pick for him. And honestly, the Hurricane Gaming draft looks a lot better than what we saw yesterday. And
it scales.
You know, you wonder if maybe they'll be a little bit too coin flippy still to throw away a lot of the advantages they did garner themselves through the draft. But at the very least, they've come in with a much better baseline coming into this game.
Yeah, I think the level of the picks, the power picks themselves, just seems a lot better than stuff like Twitch and unsupported weak side Jaces. So I totally agree with you. But I do want to talk about the other composition that we have from J-Team, because this is not a comp that we usually see on this patch at all. The Syndra, the Lee Sin, the kind of blind, very early Gwen against a player of ICU's caliber. What do you think the game plan is coming out from JT's side?
Yeah, the Syndra Lee Sin combination, of course, we know what it can do at level 6 once Lee Sin hits level 6, because there's so much deletion power. You basically find one target and immediately remove that target off the map. And given the fact that Uniboy wants to really play around Kongre and help facilitate him, I think it makes a lot of sense for the side of J-Team to go this route. We'll see how much damage it can actually do once we hit mid game, but that's the idea. However, against an Ahri, it can be difficult.
Sneaky level 1 trying to come in, but spotted out immediately. Enzo with the spider senses reading this play, and taking a look at the runes here, we do have an electrocute coming in for the Ahri. I believe this is the standard one. And also Enho, not going for the glacial, but instead going for the tankier option here.
Yeah, interestingly enough, both of our supports settling on to Aftershock. I think it's a much safer rune. So, Hurricane Gaming coming in with a lot more reservations in this game rather than the crazy all-out style that we saw in our previous 2 games. We'll see how well it does. And for Enzo, of course, he's really the main initiator and tank for his squad, so it makes a lot of sense that he would go for the Aftershock as well here.
I have to absolutely agree with you on that one. Enzo has been the one leading J-Team to victory, or sometimes leading them into disastrous teamfight situations. We're going to find out which one it is, but so far I will say that I feel like he's been a little bit coin flippy in the jungle, in the support role. He was a previous jungler moving there. Now taking a look at the map here, we do have J-Team gaining vision of Alio very early on, so they will be able to track this Viego wherever he goes. A big boon for Kongre and Uniboy in the mid-jungle combination. Let's see where these junglers are going to end up. We have seen some level 3 ganks coming out from the Viego in this spot, as just some light trading going on. And in the bot lane, Enzo going very deep into the enemy duo, but not getting that level 2 just yet. Is going to take a bit of a trade. And finally there, that is that level 2. It will continue to shove them in. And it just seems like, things starting to heat up quite early in both of these side lanes.
Yeah, and I kind of expect this, but Alio making a trip up into that top lane.
Oh,
He's
here
actually...
we go. ICU with the stun
No
does
flash.
land. It's double stun, and Driver goes down just like that. Very surprised at this outcome. JT, they had to have an inkling that that might have been the case.
I feel like Kongre has to be a little bit mad here because he pings them out and they already know he's on his red buff and they're going to miss an opportunity in that mid lane, but they do burn the flash. That's going to be key because now at level 6, Chachia will not have his flash available to him.
Yeah, that one looked like Uniboy actually had a very good opportunity. Chacha's flash was just a little slow, but somehow the spheres do not land. They get the flash, but, in the meantime, I would say Hurricane probably still has the upper hand. Uni Boy coming in again. This time he lands it. Nowhere for Cha-Cha to go. Arya is going to go down. And that was a 3-man wrap against Cha-Cha. Not really sure what Ari was hoping to accomplish right there, but she pays with it with her life.
Yeah, I agree. Not sure what Cha-Cha was trying to accomplish in that situation. Did want to get the ward down, I guess, on the ramp, but you already know that your jungler's up topside. There's no reason to try and face check into that area at that time. And, I mean, they're going to try and bait yet another death onto Driver. We'll see if it comes and pays off, because it does look like it certainly could pay off. And if Driver takes a death here, that could just be lane over.
Once again, they go in on the Gwen without the flash. ICU is going to find the second kill of the game. And this time, there is going to be no TP to salvage the lane for Driver. Massive win coming out from the top lane. And maybe this is the strategy that Hurricane Gaming has been lacking all along. Just hard camping one lane and playing towards their strong side of the map in ICU.
And I mean, you sort of highlighted it during the draft, right? That Driver is more of that tank player. That was also kind of why I was thinking that, hey, this Gwen pick probably goes into the hands of Kongria, because he is more of that hard carry type, but we did not see it. It goes into the hands of Driver, and he takes 2 deaths. He doesn't have teleport to get back to lane anymore, so he has to run all the way back. Yes, he's still up in CS, but he's... I mean, he's still in a very difficult position, because now the wave is bouncing back towards ICU. That's going to set him up for yet another aggressive play, possibly coming in from Aliao in that top side. But we might see a dive trying to be set up by J Team. I don't think it's going to happen. It's pretty risky at this point in time, but they might still commit to it.
There is no flash on the Ari. Kongria is waiting for the opportunity.
There's no backup.
The Sonic Wave does land. They do get the hook right off the bat. And that's Kongria with the kill. Enta will survive it with the Titan's Wrath. And what a clean play from J-Team. Really trading blows. As they lose the top side, they find back their value in the mid lane.
Yeah, and I mean, Hurricane Gaming, they don't expect this. Cha-Cha unfortunately takes that death. That's going to be big, because now you're behind in EXP. That delays level 6 ever so slightly here in J-Team. They're finding the responses, but at the same time, you'd like to see them play a little bit safer when it comes to that top side, knowing that you're sending so much attention to the bottom half of the map, where Kongria has been pretty much exclusively.
Yeah, it's pretty sad to see Driver, even when he's playing a potential carry like Gwen, in a difficult matchup, still no jungle attention going top lane. I guess that's just the fate of Driver. But elsewhere on the map, you know, J-Team are doing very well. This bot lane has been constantly shoving. They've gotten the CS lead. And now it does feel like Hurricane have to respond to some of these bottom lane trips that Kongria has been making. You know, I don't think Alio has even seen his Merc Wolves in quite a while. That side of the map has just been completely in Kongria and Lee Sin's favor.
Yeah, exactly. He will be able to snag away the Krugs, but I don't think... I think those were level 1 Krugs, so he's not getting a ton of value from that takeaway. But he's headed back to top side, so I expect him to try yet again to make a gank happen onto Driver as he takes his red buff here. And of course, with this wave crashing to tower, it does mean Driver will be exposed to yet another gank. I'm not sure if that is also in the bush. It's kind of cutting it close, and if it's not, then
it is.
Yeah, he could just get set up on, but he'll be able to take away the ward at the very least.
Yeah, a bit of a sad ward here, as we see Enhao not really in the position that he wanted to be. Did not expect the Nautilus coming from the bottom side, and that's another death going over to Hurricane Gaming. This mid lane has just been sort of collapsing here. We wanted to see what the Ari can do. Yeah. It's going to be a long time before I think she's going to be relevant in this matchup, especially against those 3 takedowns that the mid jungle now shares from JT.
Yeah. Enhao meets Enzo, and apparently Enzo takes the win in that regard. But now, here comes the really big power spike for J-Team, right? Because they have level 6 onto Kongre, onto Uniboy. The deletion power is insane with this combination now. And as expected, we're going to see Aliyah really set up around ICU. And I think they figured out their identity for better or worse.
Yeah, this does feel pretty forced at this point. I just feel like it's... I'd be very surprised if JT don't know that, or don't just assume that Aliyah was camping top lane at this point. So they don't really find much out of it, and unfortunately they do spot Aliyah as he moves back into his own jungle. Like, not even pings coming out from J-Team. They just knew that. They knew that from the get-go. So no surprises, and Aliyah now has to find other ways to equalize out the map, but going for that pink ward might have been way too dangerous as he falls down to Power Unleashed. Kongre is going to get out just fine. Cha-Cha not in range to find the charm, even has to flash out afterwards, and this is a complete disaster for Hurricane Gaming. He finally does find the charm, but so does Uniboy, finding the Scatter the Weak. And now Cha-Cha once again forced away from his tower. Uniboy with one of his most prevalent picks of his career in this Syndra, just doing so much work. Wow. Bang 2. That was so lucky. He could have been interrupted by the hook right there, but it doesn't land.
Yeah, he almost got kidnapped mid-lantern, which would have, that would definitely have been a highlight reel. But man, Hurricane Gaming trying to make plays, but also it feels like they're only focused on making plays and not really thinking about the consequences. And now they're just dead.
Is coming in, and down goes Enhao. No summoners from before. Double kill on Lil V. This bot lane has gone to complete smithereens. Hurricane Gaming, they have to try and equalize in the top lane. The only play they have left, and the only thing that they've tried so far.
Yeah, but unfortunately, like at this point in the game, Driver is really hard to dive because he does have that steel cap boots, and of course he gets extra damage reduction within his hollowed mist, so it makes for him to be a very, very difficult target to finish off when he's under his tower. But he's currently not under tower, and Driver is really forcing the issue here.
Yeah, he is one level up, but Aliyah has had a lot of kills, but Enzo to the rescue. Goodbye. That was actually just a pure solo. Enzo just showing up and forcing that away. And a really sad day for Aliyah because he didn't even get an opportunity to drop that Herald. That 320 gold is not going over. Oh no, once again, Cha-Cha has to use his ult defensively just to get out of Uniboy's range. Scatter the Weak, very close to kill range.
Yeah, I think this is
in the meantime, Enhao again going in, thinking that the Jinx is in a 2v1 position, but Lil V does have support. Kongre going in to flash in with Jinx, doesn't land anything. Kongre misses as well. Okay, that was a bit unsightly, but J-Team get the job done still. They still get the support kill.
Yeah, it's a little bit tragic there not being able to get that last kill, but Enhao tries to make the play happen, but unfortunately there is support coming in the form of Kongre, and because there's just such a big item difference already on the AD carries,
once more in his own jungle against a mythic item from Kongre at 12 minutes. That is just sad. There was nothing he could do after the Q1 landed.
Exactly. He is just a support, and a support that's very, very far behind as well. Map state really just falling to smithereens for the side of Hurricane Gaming, and J-Team have full control of this game. Driver even finding a kill for himself. That really is just the cherry on top after dying twice. Pretty much really back to back in the start of the game, so it should have been lane over up into the top side, but ICU hasn't been able to fully take advantage of it. You only see that he has a 5 CS lead.
Oh, I feel so bad for ICU. He gets the perfect start of the game, and then when he's finally about to leave his lane, he looks across this kills board, and Lil V is 3-0-0. Kongyue is 3-0-5, and Uniboy is also 2-0-2. This is probably the worst feeling you can get as a top laner. You did everything correctly, you won your lane, and now you have to face the rest of the team.
Alio's trying to bait. He's got
We
the
do
full
have
squad
the engage
here.
coming in. Inhao coming in with the Aphelios. They do get Enzo right off the bat. Can they find the reset before Lil V takes Alio down? He
now the
does
turn.
survive. Not sure that Nautilus was actually worth picking up this point, but he tries to go back, and in goes Kongyue. This man is fed, and he's here with a vengeance. Let's see if he can find another couple of skill shots. Uniboy just chasing the support down once more. I believe that's the fourth death for...
Fifth one.
Oh my... that was just sad to watch.
And
Little V just dancing away perfectly. That was a two-man dive onto his face, but he still managed to survive that, and complete wipe here from J-Team.
yeah, that's fifth death for Inhao. You already see he's only worth 176 gold at this point, just barely over the value of a minion wave, even less than a cannon minion wave at this point. So that's his value as we get to see the replay. That we missed the early pick, which was really well set up here coming in from Hurricane Gaming, but they just don't have the extra stats to continue to fight after the pick, even with this 4v3 advantage, or 4v3 advantage at that time, and they just try and Hail Mary, get a kill onto Lil V, unable to do so, and that really is just essentially the end of the game.
Yeah, and so he went down, but he went down for the team. A 1-for-4 trade overall in that play, and now J-Team are up 8,000 gold. Really have not seen Cha-Cha do much of anything on this Ahri. We saw him in the bot lane 1v1 versus Driver, was forced to use his ultimate defensively as well, so I feel like we're running out of options for Hurricane Gaming. Do you see any glimmers of hope for them? How are they potentially going to come back?
It's going to be difficult, but I mean, you've seen what they're trying to do, right? They're overloading just a bush or any part of the map here.
Here
but
we go.
This time they're getting
is
overloaded.
the one found, though, and we do have the Super Mega Death Rocket landing as well. Easy pickup from Kongyue.
Yep.
It
They
looked
need
like
a couple mistakes
Yeah.
coming in from J-Team side to actually make a feasible comeback, but right now it's just not quite there, because Cha-Cha on this Ahri pick, he got shut down early on, and because of that, he hasn't really been allowed to leave the lane. His CS differential is also really dire at 50 CS, so there's not only just not the ability to roam, he doesn't have any stats to boot even if he were to roam, so he's really just unfortunately a charm bot.
Oh no, ICU and Cha-Cha are found, and it doesn't seem like there will be much escaping of this. Cha-Cha does find Lil V. Very impressive amidst so many J-Team members, but that's still going to be a 2-for-1 overall, and J-Team now pushing on the inner towers. Aphelios trying to farm up, Bang 2 just getting away, Alio gets found again, CC chain absolutely perfect right here, and Uniboy picks up another kill. 3-for-1 and counting.
3-for-1. That's I mean, this game's already been over for a while now, but it's kind of just a bit of a highlight reel at this point for the side of J-Team. And
Do have the TPs coming in. It's going to be a double teleport. ICU looking for some vengeance for his teammates, but Uniboy, oh, he just dashes their hopes and dabs in their faces. The penguin, the crab dab, even picks up a minion wave. That just looked way too easy for Uniboy. Welcome back to the PCS.
Absolutely. And we finally get to see Uniboy on a bit more of a carry-oriented pick, as he really looked like he was struggling as he was kind of shoved onto more of a utility role in the first two games. Yes, he's still going to provide a lot of utility on this Syndra, but at the very least, he also gets the added damage boost instead of being stuck on a pick like Lissandra, which really is just a CC bot, even if you build a lot of damage.
Now, I do want to ask you this rhetorical question, since it doesn't look like Hurricane Gaming is actually defending anything on the map. But who do you think is going to be the best mid-jungle duo by the end of the split? Is it Uniboy Kongyue? Is it Mission Gemini? Or is it maybe the PSG Koreans? As we do see Cha-Cha going in and nearly instantly killed.
Bop. Bop.
Kickback looking really pretty from Kongyue. Gets the two-man knockdown, and I really did not expect Hurricane Gaming to go aggressive just in that moment. Really sorry for kind of stifling the discussion here, as Kongyue just hops around and they get 3 more kills on the block. Once again, Hurricane Gaming not going to defend anything.
I mean,
at this point, he's trying, but it's not a fair fight. Oh, you can't do this to the man. It's his first stint in the PCS, and they're not giving him any chances to show off. Well, let's see what happens here in this replay.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much to explain in the replay besides the fact that they don't have stats. Even if they were to find the charm, which they don't have the damage to instantly burst them out at this point, unless if they have large numbers advantage. So it is what it is. But yeah, going back to your question about best mid-jungle, I mean, I would certainly put J-Team up there along with CFO. As far as early season goes, I would say J-Team and MFT. I think CFO will really climb up in that rankings, and I feel like most likely they'll be the best one, just because how the rest of the roster is built out as well. I don't think this complete J-Team roster will be able to stand the test of time towards the end of the split, but now, you know, this early synergy between Kongyue and Uniboy should take them through quite a bit of wins.
Oh no, Cha-Cha lands the charm, but Enzo lands the staggering blow as well. Now Little V is getting excited, finds the entire bottom lane from Hurricane Gaming, and this is a push. We might be seeing a Dancing Herald. The game only at 20 minutes. We saw I believe a 21-minute end against PSG. J-Team are racing against the clock in this one as well. Just very abrupt finish to the game, as Cha-Cha thought he got the lure, got the kiss, but it didn't really matter. Apparently Nautilus, it has an even better kiss to throw back, and now Enhao flashing away, can't get away from Uniboy in the end. The Nexus is exposed. Shelly, you have to survive! Come on, Shelly, you can do it! We want to see the Shelly dance! They are guarding her with their lives, standing in front of their monster. And Lil V will end it with a Dancing Herald and a double kill.
Oh, a bit of an expected win, but still flashy nonetheless. J-Team, they go 2-1. Hurricane Gaming, at least they showed some signs of possible success here when it comes to just camping away for ICU. Aliyah spending a lot of time there. However, to get the strategy really working, you really need the rest of the map to remain stable. And while Bang2 and Enhao were able to kind of stabilize as a 2v2, once it got to making roams on the map, Enhao really fell behind in that regard and gave a lot of advantages over to J-Team, and that's where they were able to really fully effectively snowball the game.
I think there was a stretch in the game where Enhao basically died back to back to back, just racking up 3 kills really quickly. And I also think it's rather unfortunate. These guys, obviously coming from the LSC, not a lot of competitive experience, and in that game they basically never saw their own jungler. The first 2 rotations, you know, Aliyah was on the top side of the map, so it was a really rough situation where, yes, there were some mechanical misplays. They definitely could have played safer, but at the same time, they were facing 4v2s for the majority of the early game.
Yeah, that is very, very true. And I think Cha-Cha also put in a really unfortunate position early game, having to burn that flash at 3 minutes really made the game difficult for him, because he at level 6 didn't have that, or really reliant on hitting level 6 to add that extra safety, but because of that, he could never have an opportunity to make a play for himself. Didn't get to use his R aggressively to dash forward and generate a pick. Rather, it was always backwards, having to run away from the impending doom that was Syndra Lee Sin.
If you just watch that game, you might not know about the Ari rework, but when you get a takedown, you can actually dash in extra time. I'm just putting that out there. That's how the champion works. We didn't get to see that game, but that is in the game now. Yeah, and Cha-Cha is also, for me, I want to get a feel, like, because he was the big mystery for Hurricane Gaming. You know, no TGA experience, no LDL experience. He was essentially just kind of came in from solo rank, and people were very confused on, like, oh, why pick up Cha-Cha? And so far, I don't think we've seen that quality of him really shining. Even I think some of the LSC players, like, it seems like he's always going in a little bit too early for this team. And you know, I just hopefully Cha-Cha can improve, and we can finally see why Hurricane Gaming decided on this mid laner.
Hopefully he's able to showcase that, but as of right now, the coordination's just not there with Alia with the rest of the map, and then it's just really difficult for these fresh faces, right? If you don't have a lot of competitive experience, it's very difficult to adapt from straight out of solo queue into a team environment here. As we get to see the damage charts, clearly it's very, very favored towards the Jinx and Syndra, who got snowballed very early on and able to just really snowball their item builds way out of control.
I don't think I've ever seen a damage chart where nobody cracked 10k damage. Like, that's a pretty sad damage chart that we were seeing right here. And the MVP does go to Kongyue, getting a lot of stuff done early, just clamping down on the mid and bottom side of the map here. 7-0-14, perfect KDA, 72% kill participation, and he is making a strong bid in challenging Gemini's, perhaps the best jungler that we have in the PCS.
Yeah, certainly making case for it. He also has certainly an upgrade coming in from last year's Hong Kong Attitude squad. So prospects are high. We'll see how it goes from here, though. As J-Team, I expect this team to be more of a hit the ground running type of squad because they have such a strong mid-jungle synergy. But the real questions will be, once the other teams do have their synergies built up, will they be able to keep up with those big ticket teams like your Beyond Gaming and PSG?
And talking about our big ticket teams, we do have one coming right up next. The so far flawless Meta Falcon team is going to go up against the likes of the CTBC Flying Oysters coming up next.